Hello? Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Good morning. Welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. I'm Sue Kostyk. I am an integrative health practitioner. And what that means is that we integrative health practitioners are root cause specialists, basically. We're your health concierge. We dig deep into the root cause of why you're having symptoms you're having, of how to live a long and healthy life by doing some functional lab testings, which are different than conventional because we dig super deep and peeling, the onion, if you will. So, it's really about not masking a symptom that you might be having. It's about making sure that that symptom goes away and never comes back. And so that's why we dig deep. We get to the root cause of everything that's going on. And even if you do feel like you're healthy, it is good to consult with functional medicine, holistic health medicine, integrative health practitioners like myself, because sometimes things sneak up on you and catch you, by surprise. And what's happening in your body now, you've been contributing to for probably decades. So it's root cause. It's getting to the bottom of things. And so today, I want to talk about getting back to the basics because we are inundated constantly, social media, the news, everything about your health, what you should be doing, what you should be taking. You need this herb or you need this medicine. It's so frustrating and it's very overwhelming, honestly. And so I wanted to talk about the basics of functional health. And functional health means just what it says, so that you are functioning in a healthy manner and contributing to your longevity so that you can lead a happy, long, healthy, vital life. And the topic of getting back to the basics, we're going to keep it simple. I have a guest, my friend Pamela Chanel David. She's been on my show a lot because she's been my mentor. She's my friend. She's my partner in crime now. We're partnering on a package, on a program that includes mindset. And so we are going to talk about mindset today as well, because it's very vital in pretty much the first thing that you tackle when you're trying to change anything in your life. It doesn't have to be your health. It could be your finances. It could be relationships. So getting back to the basics really does mean starting with your mind and starting with what has kept you from changes, from moving forward, from anything that kind of takes you out of your comfort zone, if you will, because your mind is strong. There are many, many podcasts in YouTube at the Reinvented Life Network that I have done that talks about mindset, because your mind is strong. You've heard mind over matter. You've heard about people who have terminal diagnoses that have such a positive mindset that it reverses that diagnosis. You've heard so many stories like that. And so I want to just bring Pamela on, and we're going to have a conversation about getting back to the basics, about our mind, and how you can start today with simple steps, with simple things that you can take away as tools. So let's bring Pamela on and let's start the conversation.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
we seem
Thank
to be
you. Good.
we seem to be meeting here a lot.
Yes, here we are. But it's so important. It's the best place to meet. So I'm glad we're
It
here today.
is. It is. And thank you for, sharing your time with us and the people who are watching and listening. And I wanted to title today Getting Back to Basics because as you and I talk so much, we make things difficult. We really do. And a lot of it is our mind because our mind is protecting us from pain, perceived pain, and it perceives change as that could be a painful part of your life. And so, mindset, back to basics, in your, you know, um, I was going to say practice, but I have a practice. You have business. So, in your history with your business and helping people reinvent themselves, let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about how important that one component has been in helping people move through change.
Mhm. Well, it's everything. I mean, honestly, unless this gets addressed and worked with, it generally nothing can be achieved to
Mhm.
speak of. And so it's really everything. I would start with the fact that if you want to make, like you're saying, any changes in your life, and in this case, it's changes with your health, you
Mhm.
can't do and operate in the same way that you've been doing and operating and achieve a different result.
Right.
So it starts with where is a person now in their life? Where do they want to be? And really diagnosing, if you will, and digging through if they're just saying they want to be there, they want to lose weight, or they want to infuse fitness, or they want to eat healthier, or they want to take care of toxins that are in their system. Whatever that may be that they want to address in terms of their health, it's going to require thinking about their days, their daily routine, their life in general in a new way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up a great point. You know, you've heard like therapists say this all the time to people who are getting out of relationships and wanting to move into a new relationship. It's like you can't take the same baggage into your
Mhm.
new journey. And you know doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, I believe, is the definition of insanity. So let's take the insanity out of this. And if whoever is watching or listening, a lot of times people come to me and they've tried everything. I mean, I have a lot of weight loss clients that have been on every fad diet, every medical intervention, every fitness regime, and it works for a minute and they get a little bit of results, but then it's not working anymore. And many
Mhm.
times it's because their mind is wanting that thing to change them, and that thing is never going to change them. It really is your mind and putting your mind to work to make those changes and walk a different line that you have walked in the past. And you get fatigued and you get frustrated and you've got, all of a sudden you've got steamer trunks of baggage. And again, this isn't just about weight loss or health, it's about anything. It's like you got to get rid of, you got to unpack those steamer trunks before you get on to your next journey so that you're traveling lighter. I'm using travel a lot. I don't know, maybe I'm going on a trip. But,
Well,
um,
uh, well, I think what you bring up is the point that if people really want to embrace change and making shifts in one's health is certainly wanting to change things from where they are, right?
mhm,
So again, it goes back to, and I love the topic of back to basics, of almost looking at everything like a whiteboard
Right.
and needing to make that erasure. And the basics are, and in the Reinvented Life, we work on this constantly, is taking a look at the thoughts that one is having, being sure actions are correlated with those thoughts to create what new habits. Those new habits will help to create new routines. Those routines create a new lifestyle and a new
Mm-hmm.
way of being. So it's important to follow that measure. And in the beginning of when I work with someone, I mean, by the time they've worked with me for a few times, they're like, they're hearing that over and over and over again because
Yeah, it
we
sounds very
constantly have
familiar to
to,
me.
oh, yes, because we constantly have to look at, is one's actions in the beginning correlative to the new thought that they want to achieve. And oftentimes, right there, it isn't working. So, what I
Mm-hmm.
love, and I love the partnership with you, is it helps to almost guarantee
Mm-hmm.
that the support level is there for our clients, both from their mind and their strategy and what they're actually doing. And I always say that one is not a human doing, one is a human being.
Right.
So just that for a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit eye opening because it's thinking about being in
Mm-hmm.
a new way, not just checking off a bunch of to do
Yes.
lists.
And that's what I love about our program, because everyone is individual. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you see all over the internet, you see newsletters coming out, you see commercials on TV. They're batching people all together in
Mm-hmm.
one batch. And
Yes.
there is no success by following the crowd. And the way that our program works is we work with the individual. And before you even get to me, you're going to have some time with the famous
Yeah.
Pamela Chanel David. And so it's really about treating people as an individual. We've talked, you and I have talked about how my work, I'm like a concierge at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You go into a city and you want to see the things, and you want, adventure. Or maybe you just want to go to the spa and relax. But I don't know that until I can talk to you and until I can map out what your journey wants to be. And then I can give you a roadmap of how many ever days you're going to be in the city, and what, based on your wants and needs and what you like, I'm going to map out your what you need to do in that city at that time. And versus going to a hotel and just winging it and
Mm-hmm.
not knowing which direction you're going in. And this is where I think our program is so great, because we have a roadmap. We have a
Mm-hmm.
roadmap that people will be on for, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. And
Mm-hmm.
then they're in a position where they are managing their city, if you will, as your own being. you know. So it's really exciting, and you know the mindset thing has to happen first. There's just no two ways about it. Getting back to basics is so important, and I think it's freeing. I think when you give people permission to go back to the basics, it's very freeing.
I think it is. And people find that one of the first processes that I work with everyone that I work with on
Mhm.
is almost a decluttering process,
Mhm.
if you will. And decluttering is so important because, again, we all have habits, we all have ways of thinking, ways of actually acting out, if you will, in our daily routines.
Yeah.
And so, so much of what we don't realize that we are carrying is cluttering us, is weighing us down. And so, this decluttering process is very important because things that seem important aren't actually,
Hmm.
when we talk them out, important, and vice versa. Things that
Right.
are really important have just kind of gone by the wayside. There's no room for them, there's no time for them, there's no attention that's being placed on some of the most important things when you're looking at creating new paradigms with one's health.
Hmm.
And so the important piece of this is this decluttering process. And like I said, almost the taking away of what has to happen in order to leave space for something new.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, decluttering your mind is so
Yeah,
important. And
yeah.
I talk a lot about the de-stress protocol, and it's one of those things that is so imperative in my practice when I work with people. And it's not, it hasn't, I mean, it has a little bit to do with stress, but it's not, it's an acronym. And so when we talk about getting back to basics, also, it's really letting people know that there's really some basic things that they can do that will jumpstart their process. And
Hmm.
besides the mindset, it's really taking a look at, what are you eating? What are you feeding yourself? How are you moving every day? Like you mentioned earlier, what is your toxic overload, if you will? We're surrounded by toxicity. And are you resting? Are you getting sleep? Are you managing that part of your life? Are you managing your emotions? And again, that's the mindset. There's so much of the mindset in this whole process. And are you supplementing where you're deficient? It's like that's just basic stuff. And do you have a success mindset? Do you know that you are going to be successful this time? And there are, in that acronym, 3 times we talk about the mind. And so that's why it's just so important that our mindset is on success. It's on that, instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to try this again. It's like, no, this time it's going to work. This time I'm going to do the steps that I need to do. And it's not shameful to ask for help. So many people feel like there's shame behind asking for help. So they kind of secretly watch a video and apply what this one person has used and is selling. And it's just ask for the help. Get into that process, invest. You know, People don't want to invest in their health. They invest in all sorts of other things, but they don't invest in themselves. And we could do a whole podcast on personal justice, right?
Yeah. Well, personal justice is important because it's how just or is one treating themselves. And I think
Mhm.
that the key to look at this is creating not just help, but creating a team environment. And a
Mm.
team environment, people in general are more naturally drawn to environments that are supportive, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have a team that you're working with, and it's not just you and you're not just alone, and you have not just accountability, but, and I always say it's not just about accountability, but it's about authenticity. And
Mm.
so when one determines what is driving them and what they want to drive them authentically, and they have a team surrounding them, suddenly they're not by themselves.
Right.
And that is so important with any success that one is looking at in life. When you mention investments, when people make business investments, when people do any kind of investments at all, career investments, relationship investments, it's not alone. There's
Mhm.
a partner or there's a group. There is someone behind what one is investing in. And in this case, one's health is the most personal piece
Mm-hmm.
of one's life.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that is protected the most. And it is the thing that there are most walls up about because
Exactly.
it is so personal. And
Mm-hmm.
so the fact of having anyone else operating as a cheerleader, a coach, a team in that process, that in and of itself is new. And
Right.
so that is what we work on first is the decluttering of all the thoughts that are preventing healthy thoughts to come in and creating that trust in who you're working with to create that team environment for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And many successful people have teams. you know it's and even if you're just like people say, well, I'm just a mom. Well, you have a team. You either have your family or you have a village that comes around you to help you, and teams are very important. You don't walk through life alone, and so therefore you shouldn't walk through a change alone either. Everyone needs a team. It takes a village. It's vital. And when you talk about accountability, I think a lot of people see that as a negative connotation. Like, oh, you're going to be, looking over my shoulder and making sure, I'm doing the right thing. And it's really more about encouragement versus making sure you're doing the right thing. It's about encouraging you to move forward, even if you have a few steps backwards. It's just encouraging you to keep on that momentum because sometimes change takes a while.
Yeah.
And, it's not about the quick fixes. It's really about establishing, like you said, habits that become a lifestyle. And it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard all of the adages about, it takes 14 days to break a habit and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it takes time to, step into a new habit and to make that into your lifestyle. And I think people really, really want that, but whatever is stopping them, they don't have that team around them. They don't have
Yeah.
the cheerleaders. They don't have, sometimes people do need a little kick in the butt. I mean, it's like you do need that coach that's saying, hey, is that really the right choice? But it's the team is, and I'm so excited about this. And if anyone needs information, you can just send an email to support@helloyourhealthiscalling.com right now. And we've put this program together, and it's super exciting, and it's really to take you into the new year. Actually, we've got limited space, and if you start in July, imagine when you hit January, how good you're going to feel. And you won't be going, oh, I need some more New Year's resolutions, or I need to, I failed this year. We're halfway through the year. Take advantage of the rest of the year and make some changes. And, it's resolutions are momentary wishes of what you want. And if you can enter into 2026 and you don't have to say, I need to make a New Year's resolution, you have just won the gold medal. You are like, you've won the race, you're head and shoulders above the world, you're that 1%. And mentally, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like you're on top of the world.
Well, I think it's what you're speaking about from a mindset standpoint is one and one's energy. And
Mm,
what kind of energy is one bringing into anything, whether it be a new year, a new project, a new anything in life. Again, something new may be a change from what they're used to. And so, going back to what I think is most important from all of this is being sure that one is operating in a way that's most authentic to them. because all the accountability, as you mentioned, in the world won't help if energetically their actual beingness, we're human beings, their actual beingness is not in alignment with what is most authentically them. And that is why you see so many people that do something for a while, but it doesn't stick. They do it for a week, they do it for a month, they even do it for a year, but it's not anything long lasting. What becomes long lasting is when you are operating in your authentic energetic state. And that's what this really requires. It's not about, like you're saying, the supplements you take or the exercises you're going to do or what you're going to eat or what you're going to cut out or this. That can all get overwhelming. But until you authentically approach whatever it is you want to do. And I'll end with, this comes from not just what I've learned in my coaching business, but this comes a lot from what I've been through personally. And so the reinvented life was actually born out of the hurdle I had, which was when I was given a year to live.
Mm-hmm.
And those words stung like no other words had stung in my life before. And it was at that moment that I realized the seriousness of how I had let my health decline, of how I had abandoned myself, shook me like an earthquake.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment I had to figure it out. And I had to lose, at the time, almost 200 pounds, which I've lost like 160, 170 yet.
You see. That's amazing.
This doesn't come from just following some to-do list.
Mm-mm.
This comes from having to actually search and find authentically who is that person that matters the most about. And then what are the steps I have to do, and what are the things I have to take to be there with, like we're saying, the right team, the right approach to help get there. So I wanted to add this because I'm extremely passionate
Yeah.
about this subject.
And your story is truly an amazing one and very inspiring. I'm going to leave this last thought as well, just piggybacking on your story, is don't wait. Don't wait till you are in a situation that you're getting that terminal diagnosis. Don't wait. If you feel like you're getting in a situation that is going to become acute and you feel like you just can't climb out of it, that's when you need to start taking action and figuring out who, because sometimes we bury ourselves even in our disease, and that's who we become. And you have to get back to the basics of who you are and who you want to be and that legacy that you want to leave at the end of your life. And so, really, it's like, don't wait. Even if you think that you are in the epitome of health, don't wait to further dig into your health to see how you can really increase your longevity. There's so many stories of people that were at the peak of health and they drop dead. I mean, I know that's really morbid, but it's my message is just so strong. It's like, don't wait. Don't treat your health as a hobby. You have so much inspiration just in Pamela's story alone. I have my own story as why how I'm here, and that's for another day. But we all have a story where we've had to dig deep and find our who we are, what our authentic self is, how we have to fight through the trenches. And so we want to bring that to you. And we want people to find their health, to find the change, to work through those mindsets that have kept you in the quagmire of, just your life, and finding your authentic self is really, really the first step. So we're out of time, sadly. I thank you so much, Pamela, for coming on. I can't even express how she has helped me in my mindset, because I have had to walk through a lot of change in the last couple years, and I walked through a lot of change um, 10 years ago as well. And there's so much baggage that goes along with that we just carry around and carry around, that prohibits us from doing what we want to do, who we are, what we are meant to be, what our purpose is, and how we can walk in that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can rewatch all of these at, it's on YouTube at the Reinvented Life Network. Hello, Your Health is Calling. Remember, your health, your life, it is not a hobby. You have one, and that is it. And so that is why I'm here, to help bring you back to the basics. And we will continue this conversation next week as well. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health, and remember, your health is calling.